Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mintlayer community call. My name is Michael Bille, and I work on the business side at Mintlayer. I'm here today with our CTO, Ben Marsh, to take you through the latest of what we have been working on. Welcome to the call, Ben. Glad you can join.
Thank you very much.
We have a bunch of things to cover today, so here is a brief of what's on the agenda. First, we're going to do a recap of our latest progress report and what we have been working on. The report is available on our website already, and this will include the Mojito update and also some core development, wallet preparation, and storage backend, and a mempool update. We will also discuss what is coming next in this quarter we can look forward to. And at the end, I will also update on the business developing side of Mintlayer, where we have been participating in conferences and we're gonna focus on partnerships. And that's the agenda for today. Ben, how are you feeling today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too as well. I'm based in Lisbon, so a sunny morning here. And how about all the developers? I know everybody's working full steam ahead right now. So
Yeah,
how's the team doing?
yeah, it's going well. So we've just finished the stand-up in the core team for the day. So everything is moving forwards pretty well. Some interesting things going on at the moment. So hopefully in the next call in particular, we'll have some really exciting things to talk about.
That's great to hear. Thank you. Now let's dive into the developing update for now. Let's start with the Mojito mobile wallet. I understand that you have fixed some bugs in the wallet since last time, but you guys have also created a testing framework. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've been focusing on heavily over the we started it about 6 weeks ago or so, but it's been going on particularly over the last month, has been building an end-to-end test framework for the mobile app. So the idea is that every time new code is added, we will run all of these tests and it will ensure that the app is still working the way it should do. So we will test the sort of key functionality, but not in isolation, but sort of everything together. So everything from creating a wallet to restoring a wallet to receiving a transaction, sending a transaction, all of these things that are the sort of core functionality. And we're trying to test them sort of together rather than in isolation. So they might work perfectly fine when you're just testing the one thing, but do they still work fine as a user would actually use the wallet? So yeah, we've been working quite heavily on this. So it essentially gives us a sort of peace of mind as we move forward that when we make future changes, that we won't have broken anything in the past. And it means that we can add more and more of these over time. So as we add new features, we will always add them to this end-to-end test framework. And we will eventually get to the point where we hopefully have covered 100% of the existing code and features. And we can just be completely comfortable that everything works exactly as it should do. And yeah, there have been a few small bugs we fixed as we've been going. And one other thing we've started working on, in fact, we started the planning last month, but we've been going a little bit more into the development side this month, is the entropy generation feature. So as soon as the sort of basics of the test framework are ironed out and finished, which should be incredibly soon, we will get started on that and there will be a release relatively shortly afterwards with that feature.
Interesting. It sounds like the testing framework is gonna make all the work much more efficient in the future. So that's a cool feature to work on.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes life easier for everyone who's involved, really. So it means, particularly when we add new things, we don't have to sit and worry about have we affected anything else. We can just sit there and go, oh yeah, everything else still works exactly as it did before. We know we haven't broken anything. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
makes my life easier and happier.
And that's good for all parties. Now that we are at the Mojito, we also been working hard on the browser extension for the Mojito web wallet, and currently running tests with the help of our community as well. Can you please share an update about this browser extension and the tests?
Yeah, so we released an alpha with essentially the option for people to come and join us and help us test this. We've had quite a lot of feedback now, so I think we're up to 30 or 40 people now who have submitted some feedback on it. Some of these, the reports we've actually received are things that we have already fixed by pure happen chance. So we fixed a few things after the release that we gave to the public, but before we received the feedback. So some of these things are already fixed, but some of them have given us some ideas, particularly on where to head in the future. So lots of people talking about sort of color schemes and maybe adding a dark mode, things like this. So there's lots of ideas that we will work on in the future. So we're going to take all of this feedback sort of into account, and we will plan it into future releases. Yeah,
that is awesome, and that's awesome. And we, of course, we appreciate the kind help from our great community. And again, all feedback and ideas are always welcome from you guys out there. And as you can hear, even our CTO are taking everything into consideration for future development. So we appreciate it. And yeah, now let's move on to the core development. Let's start with the Mintlayer token standard. You have an update on this?
Yeah, so we have merged the first version of MLS03s. So these are NFTs in the Mintlayer world. So we have an initial version now, which has been tested and is now part of the actual code base. So there are still some updates to come on that code. So there are a few things which haven't been implemented yet, things like royalties, things like this. However, the sort of core functionality is there. So we now have, at the very least, a very basic version of MLS03s and a version of MLS01. So the sort of core token standards that we're going to launch with are done. They're finished. So we will update both of them as time goes on. So we have some plans on how to improve both and some extra features to add to both, which perhaps don't exist in other blockchains at the moment. But yeah, we have the starting point done.
Yeah, that's good news. So we have like the native token standard and also the NFT token standard almost ready for now and to the testnet at some point. So that's a cool update. And we also have the MLS2, which is kind of the privacy token. But I understand it's gonna be later in the roadmap for this one.
Yeah, that's way down the line. So as we have lots of other slightly more important things to work on first. So we've essentially designed the roadmap so we launch the most useful features first, so the things that really align us with Bitcoin and make Mintlayer sort of a good DeFi sidechain for Bitcoin. So those are the things we're going to work on first, and then these sort of shinier, slightly more exciting for me as a cryptographer, those sorts of things that are coming in the future. We've pushed those to the back as they're perhaps not as useful for a DeFi sidechain, although we will add them. And yeah, so we've done some basic sort of planning on how we're going to implement these things, but it's going to come further down the line.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the update. And yeah, of course, it's always the cool features are always the most fun to work with. But of course, this one is gonna be longer in the line for the roadmap. Yeah, let's talk next. The hardware wallet. Just see. Yeah, you also made an update in regards to the Node wallet. What changes have you made there, and the reasons behind these?
Yeah, so essentially we started building the Node wallet. So this is the wallet that we run on the Node to allow staking and these sorts of things. So we have rewritten a part of the cryptography subsystem in order to make this more compatible when it comes to things like hardware wallet integration. But yeah, we're essentially working towards this sort of stuff now. So things like handling seed phrases, the communication between the wallet and the Node software itself, and all that signing stuff and the staking and all these sorts of things is what we're currently working on there. But yeah, so that is going on and is going pretty well at the moment. Things are moving relatively rapidly there. So yeah, I imagine that will be finished fairly shortly, actually. Yeah.
Perfect. That's important features for Mintlayer. So that's a great update on this one. Yeah, let's talk about the database backend. What news do you have here to us?
Yeah, so there's one really big thing here, which is we have forked a Mozilla crate. So a crate in this context is essentially a library in the Rust world. And we've forked one, meaning we've kind of taken control of it of our own and made it our own, because there were a few bugs in there we needed to fix, which and it didn't seem to be particularly well maintained upstream. So we made the decision to fork it and fix it. So we've actually been fixing some issues in some open source software at the moment. And yeah, so we have LMDB integrated now into Mintlayer, and yeah, we have its database backend now.
Okay, cool. I just have a general question here because as Mintlayer is a blockchain, then maybe some people will ask why the storage backend is needed. Can you explain like the purpose of a database on a blockchain and the reasons?
Yeah, I mean, it's where blocks are stored on that node. Um, so when you receive a block and you've decided that that is a block that you're going to use in your local chain, then it is written to the database. It's essentially the way of organizing things locally.
Perfect. Thank you for the explanation here. The mempool subsystem and the peer-to-peer block processing. You've also been working on these.
Yeah, so there have been a few changes to the P2P subsystem. So I say this every month. So it's something we're making lots of small incremental changes to. So there haven't been any massive changes this month to the peer-to-peer stuff, but we've made a few small optimizations and made it a little bit cleaner. The mempool has undergone some fairly heavy refactoring this month. So we've been sort of not changing how it works, but sort of redesigning the code to make it slightly neater and easier to maintain in the future. And we've also been working on the integration with of the mempool with the rest of the blockchain. Yeah, because before it was a relatively standalone thing, whereas it's now more or less integrated with the rest of the blockchain.
Got you on that one. But yeah, thank you for the developing update, Ben. And you guys are working super hard and efficiently. So well done. Can you maybe share like what's next on the roadmap? What's interesting for the next quarter to come on the development front?
I think the most exciting thing, as per usual, is going to be the consensus. So there are a couple of us who are still working very heavily on the consensus. It's heading in the right direction. So every day we seem to get a step closer to having something that's finished. In fact, I will be going out to Abu Dhabi very shortly to sit with some of the other developers and work again quite heavily on the consensus. So yeah, we're heading in the right direction now. That's probably the most exciting thing. I mean, it's the biggest thing. There's lots of smaller things that will be coming. So I mean, we've spoken about the wallets. So that will be coming up relatively soon at this point now. I mean, there are lots of sort of small things in the background. So the mempool will undergo a lot more restructuring. There are still some things to be done on the database backend. And then we will be looking at the multi-sig stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting quarter we are going ahead to. So interesting. Now I would like to give an update on the business developing front. All focus is on developing and establish strategic important partnership to create like a long-term healthy ecosystem on Mintlayer. So 2 weeks ago, I participated in Bitcoin Amsterdam conferences, and this weekend, our CEO Enrico and I will participate in the Plan B forum in Lugano. And next week, I'll also be in Web Summit in Lisbon, in sunny Portugal. So if anyone is around these events and want to meet, feel free to reach out to me. And also, If you know any projects or people that would be interesting for us at Mintlayer to be involved with, then also please make an introduction or ask them to contact us. We are right now heavily focused on creating partnerships, and I can always already now advise that we have a good pipeline of interesting partners for the near future. So it's going to be super interesting. And I can also advise that in the near future, we'll set up some more partnership calls where we will discuss their project and Mintlayer and also what the partnerships is all about. So I hope you're going to like these calls in the future. Ben, anything we forgot to mention or something you want to add?
I don't think so. I think the only thing is, we're working hard towards the testnet, and hopefully we should see it relatively soon.
It sounds good. So everything is still in order, and we have the GGE coming up in the first quarter next year. It's going to be super interesting. So, well, that's all we have time for today. And all of you who joined us, thank you for your support. We truly value this. And please remember to join our official Telegram group. We are very active on Telegram and answer all questions there. Ben, as always, appreciate your time and your hard work. Thank you for joining and sharing the current status.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Michael Bille. Thank you for joining us on this community call. I will see you next time.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.